Hello everybody, welcome to Little Rusty Bucket. Subscribe to the channel and drop a like on this video. I'm trying to hit 40k subs over here, so that subscription would be much appreciated. We have decided that maybe we should get the goal a little closer to the sub count that we're currently at before we reach for 50. But yeah, for now, if you would like to be in the under 40k club, by all means, please subscribe to the channel. Now, I wanted to talk about Tim Duncan today because the subject of carry job championships came up in one of our recent hot takes videos over on the Rusty Buckets channel, and I brought up Tim Duncan. And though I have always, or at least ever since I've really looked into Tim Duncan's early career, since then held the opinion that Duncan's 03 championship run is the most impressive one that any individual player has ever gone on. But when I was looking through those numbers again, I was like, dude, I gotta make a video just yapping about this. I'm probably going to maybe one day make a doc about Tim Duncan just in general to go over that run, because like a big knock that people have on Tim Duncan, something that they hold against him all the time, is this notion that like Greg Popovich carried him. Like a big reason why I even went about making my the two faces of Greg Popovich video is because I have just always found it annoying the way that a lot of people will almost dismiss a player's talent or all-time status based on having a good coach or having a good franchise, as though that shouldn't be like the expectation. Like, I don't think you should knock Magic for having a stacked roster entering the NBA, and I don't think you should knock Tim Duncan for having one of the greatest coaches, in my opinion, the greatest coach of all time. Like, that should be expected. You should instead be like, damn, poor LeBron with this shit-ass roster. Poor LeBron with this shit-ass coach. Not LeBron specifically, but, you know, just talking about other all-time greats having worse circumstances. Like, I don't like holding good circumstances over the heads of these players. And people do that with Tim all the time. And it's not only Tim, or not only Popovich, rather, but also like Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili. Like, oh my God, like those are anywhere near the two best teammates an all-time great player has had. Like, it's not even a competition, like, if you really think about it. But those are two great players. He also had David Robinson for his first championship, still playing at an all-star level. But because he had that in 1999, and he had Manu and Parker in 2005 and 2007, and then obviously 2014 was a product of a whole team at large, including Kawhi Leonard, Boris Diaw, Gary Neal, shout out Gary Neal, Danny Green, and all that. His 2003 championship, like, shockingly never comes up. The only reason that it never comes up is because it's Tim Duncan and the San Antonio Spurs. If any other player in the pretty much, not that there's a unanimous top 10 of all time, but most people generally have the same guys in their at least top 15 players of all time, there is no one who would not get credit for that type of run more than Tim Duncan. And the proof is in the pudding, because he literally does not get any credit for this shit. So please, for the fucking dumbasses that think Tim Duncan just got carried by a great organization, I'm going to talk about the 2003 Spurs and their championship run and how much Tim Duncan absolutely carried them on the way there. So just to get to the Spurs roster in general that year, they won 60 games and finished first, at least in their division. I don't know if that ended up being the top standing overall, but 2003, this is when the Lakers are going for 4 in a row. That is the most impressive team that they beat along the way, but the Western Conference was no cakewalk regardless. This roster, the starting lineup, was Tony Parker, who is 20 years old, and I believe, yes, in his second season in the NBA, averaging 15 points and 5 assists, shooting about 50% on 10 two-pointers, but he's taking 12.7 shots to get to 15.5 points, and that comes out to a true shooting of 54, which is fine, but he was not great. He was a good quality starting point guard, but by no means the all-star and even borderline MVP candidate that he was later on in his career. That is the best teammate that Tim Duncan has on this roster. After that, he's got Bruce Bowen, who is a lights out 3-point shooter and one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA, but ultimately pretty much the only thing he can do is shoot threes. And he did have a league high 44% clip for this season, but it was on 2 attempts per game, 2.8 attempts per game. So we're not talking about a good scoring option, just a role player who will hit his shots when they're open. Then you have Steven Jackson, who averaged 12 points per game on 43, 32, 76 shooting splits. And again, if we go to true shooting, where is that? I'm not showing this on screen. I meant to switch to show this on screen. I'm such a doofus. Forgive me for that. Steven Jackson here. Yeah, 52% true shooting. Again, not the worst, but we are not talking about a particularly efficient guy who, again, is averaging 12 points per game. You also have Malik Rose here. He's a cool player. He's fine. But if we get, you see Manu Ginobili here. This is his rookie year. He's playing 20 minutes a game, and he's fine. His numbers are solid. Nothing substantial, though. 4th in Rookie of the Year voting. So literally not anywhere close to being the best rookie in the NBA at that point either. David Robinson, all-time great player, but 8 points, 8 rebounds, 1.7 blocks. These are role player numbers. This is a roster of Tim Duncan and then a shit ton of role players, most of which weren't even very good. Like, definitely nowhere near one of the best role player cores that a team has had. Like, I would say, and this was the conversation in the hot takes video, this is a substantially worse supporting cast than Dirk Nowitzki had in 2011 or than Dwayne Wade had in 2006. Like, very substantially worse. Like, he didn't have an all-star teammate or anything resembling an all-star teammate. Nowhere close to an all-star teammate. Good starting point guard, good small forward. Steven Jackson's fine. David Robinson was a pretty good starting center. Manu off of the bench is cool. Kevin Willis could play good in the limited minutes he got. That was pretty much it, though. And then if we go over to some playoff numbers real quick, I'm going to take Tim Duncan out of the top. We're not going to see his numbers right now. We're looking at the top over here, though. But I just want to see everybody else. Yeah, 15 points for Tony Parker, about the same as regular season. Same for Steven Jackson. His efficiency is still not very good. Tony Parker and him are just over 40% from the field. Neither of them are particularly good floor spacers. Bruce Bowen, 44% from outside again, so he's still doing his job. Manu Ginobili stepped up his game a little bit in the playoff context, especially as a 3-point shooter, as we see right here. But again, these are pretty pathetic numbers for the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th best players on a championship team. This is very just remarkably mid. Then we get to Tim Duncan, who averaged 24.7 points per game, 3.3 blocks, 5.3 assists, 15.4 rebounds, including 4 offensive rebounds per game, and he was also the 2nd most efficient player on his team, other than Steve Kerr, who doesn't fucking play. But David Robinson, 54% from the field. And in fact, I bet you if we, again, go to advanced here, if we just got true shooting, I'm willing to bet he's at the damn near top. Yeah, him, David Robinson, and then Steve Kerr, who did not play much. So yeah, the most efficient player on the team. Then we go to total, or then we go to per game, leads them in points, leads them in blocks, leads them in assists, leads them in rebounds, and leads them in efficiency, or is 2nd in efficiency to David Robinson, who is averaging 8 points. What the fuck? What are you talking about? Those numbers are insane. And when you go back and watch the highlights, he's every bit as good as those numbers would indicate. Now, I know you're looking at this and you're thinking, 24.7 points, that's not really that much. Well, when you consider the team on average scored 94.8 points per game, the rest of his team is scoring 70, and he's scoring like nearly a third of their points. That's bananas, dude. Or it's more like it's under a quarter. It's in between a third and a quarter. I don't know. It's over 30%. And then also, like, you might think that's not that high of a scoring average, but if you go to like season leaders this year in the NBA, in the playoffs, Kobe averaged 32. Iverson averaged 32, T-Mac averaged 32, because of course they did, because they were on losing situations where they just needed to chuck the ball a lot. Similar can be said for Paul Pierce, and my God, the efficiency, not necessarily the best right there, but damn did he get to the free throw line. That's a lot. Again, these are much smaller series where these guys are playing, but among players who made it to the conference finals or beyond, he is just barely under Dirk as would otherwise number 2 basically in playoff scoring that year if you made it to the conference finals. And like I said, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 dudes who are ranking over him. Most of them second round exits. Some of them 1, 2, 3 of these guys didn't even get out of one round. So if we just want to go second round or beyond, he's still top 6. If I did that math, I'm stupid. So don't look at me. But yeah, that's among some of the best scoring in the entire NBA. Hard to knock him for that. Then if we just want to quickly go through the specific playoff series themselves. So round 1, this isn't a very good team. This is admittedly pretty much a cakewalk because we're talking about Stephon Marbury and Amari Stoudemire before he was even Amari Stoudemire. Sean Marion, this is a respectable enough team, but I imagine this Suns team probably didn't win 50 games. Yep, 44. So this one's whatever. We can move on beyond round 1. That one's kind of a wash. His numbers aren't even that particularly special in this series because, I mean, he didn't really need them to be. Where are you at? Second series, conference finals versus the Lakers. This series right here is basically the actual finals. This is like the actual hardest hurdle for him to get through was in round 2. 50-win Lakers coming off of 3 straight titles, and Tim Duncan averages 28 points per game, 12 rebounds, 5 assists, 1.3 blocks. He spent a lot of time guarding Shaq in this series to much success. And again, you see these numbers, dude. They're fine. They're okay. Steven Jackson was really bad in this series. And down here, you got Shaq's numbers, which are notably worse than he typically puts up in a series where he really needs to backpack. Kobe was doing more of the backpacking here because he wasn't being guarded by Tim fucking Duncan. And then we get to the conference finals, probably the second most impressive series from them because the Dallas Mavericks were also a 60-win team that year. And he averaged 28, 17, 6 assists, 3 blocks, 57% from the field, best efficiency on his entire team again, leading them in everything. And the Dallas Mavericks, Dirk Nowitzki missed 3 games, and the Mavericks managed to win a game in game 5, but the Spurs had a 2-1 lead with Dirk there, so doing some damage control on the fly here. But yeah, I do still think this is a fairly impressive series. It's definitely not what it could have been, though, and you can argue that takes away from his case if you really want to. Then in the NBA Finals against the New Jersey Nets, who were the team to come out of the Eastern Conference, goes to 6 games. Tim averages 24 points, 17 rebounds, 5.3 assists, and 5.3 blocks per game. The rim was just unattainable in this He's also playing 44 minutes per game. I think there's an overtime in here somewhere, but he is sitting for 4 minutes a game. That's crazy, dude. And again, you see these. Tony Parker is under 40% from the field. David Robinson did good. Steven Jackson, 37% from the field. Manu Ginobili, 34.8% from the field. Like, what are we talking about? These numbers are so bad. This is such a shit supporting cast for a championship level team. I just can't. I still am baffled by this because of not only how ridiculous it is and how impressive it is, but how little you end up hearing about this. Like, it's argued that he should have gotten a quadruple double in game 6 because he put up 21 points, 20 rebounds, 10 assists, and 8 blocks. What are we talking about, man? What are we talking about? This is the greatest title. This is the greatest carry job title run ever. And it's so baffling to me that a guy can have this on his resume, can have this under his levels of success to just then get dismissed as he had a great franchise and a great coach and great teammates, so fuck him. It's ridiculous. Shout out '03 Tim Duncan. I implore you to go and watch some of his highlights from that series. Even I would especially recommend you watch the entirety of the game 6 versus the Brooklyn Nets, or the New Jersey Nets at the time. But yeah, that's it. Go watch basketball. It's so good. He's so good. So underrated somehow. Shouldn't be. But that's it. Goodbye.